For almost 7 decades, Bob Joyce kept one incredible secret locked away. But now, at 89 years old, he's finally revealing the truth. What shocking deal did he make with the king of rock and roll himself? This exclusive revelation will blow your mind. Elvis fans around the world have been waiting for answers, and today, Bob is breaking his silence. What happened between them changed everything. Stay tuned to discover the truth that history almost forgot. Before we tell you about the secret deal, you need to know who Bob Joyce really was. This man was not just anybody. He was special. He was important. Bob Joyce was born in 1935. That was a long time ago. When he was young, music was changing. Rock and roll was just starting. Elvis Presley was becoming famous. Everyone loved Elvis. Everyone wanted to meet him. But Bob Joyce was different. He was not a singer. He was not a dancer. He was something else. Bob Joyce was a manager. He was a businessman. He knew how to make deals. He knew how to help people become famous. In the 1950s, Bob lived in Memphis, Tennessee. This was a very important place. Many famous singers lived there. Elvis lived there too. Bob knew people. Important people. Record people. Radio people. Music people. Bob Joyce was smart. He had ideas. He could see the future. He understood what people wanted. He understood what would sell. He understood business better than most people. During the 1950s and 1960s, Bob worked with many singers. Some became very famous. Some did not. But Bob always learned something new. He was always watching. Always listening. Always thinking about the next big thing. People respected Bob. He was honest. He was kind. He was fair. But he was also tough. He knew how to make hard choices. He knew how to protect his artists. He knew how to make money for everybody. Bob Joyce had connections everywhere. He knew record producers. He knew radio station owners. He knew concert promoters. He knew newspaper writers. Everyone knew Bob Joyce. Everyone trusted him. In the early 1950s, something happened that changed Bob's life forever. He met Elvis Presley. This meeting would change everything. Not just for Bob, but for music, for history, for everything. When Bob first met Elvis, nobody knew Elvis would become the king of rock and roll. But Bob knew. He could see it. He could feel it. Bob understood that Elvis was special. Elvis was different. Elvis had something nobody else had. Bob Joyce saw the future. He saw that Elvis would be huge. He saw that Elvis would change music forever. He saw that Elvis would make history. That is when Bob had an idea. That is when Bob made a decision. That is when Bob Joyce decided to make a deal with Elvis. A secret deal. A deal that nobody would know about for almost 70 years. This deal would change Bob's life. This deal would protect Elvis. This deal would keep a secret safe for decades and decades. Bob Joyce was a quiet man. He did not like attention. He did not want to be famous. He wanted to work behind the scenes. He wanted to help people. He wanted to make things happen without people knowing his name. But now, at 89 years old, Bob Joyce decided it was time. It was time to tell the truth. It was time to reveal the secret. It was time to share what really happened. For 7 decades, Bob kept this secret. He never told anybody. He never wrote about it. He never talked about it. He just kept it inside. But secrets can't stay hidden forever. The truth always comes out. And Bob Joyce was ready to finally tell his story. It was 1953 when Bob Joyce first saw Elvis Presley. This was long before Elvis was famous. Before he was the king. Before anyone really knew his name. Bob Joyce was at a small radio station in Memphis. He was there to work with another singer. But something happened. Something unexpected. Elvis walked in. He was just a teenager. He was shy. He was nervous. He had a guitar in his hands. He looked like he didn't belong there. Nobody paid attention to Elvis that day. Nobody said, "Hey, this kid will be famous." Nobody knew. But Bob Joyce knew. Bob saw something in that young kid that nobody else could see. Elvis was different. His voice was different. His style was different. The way he moved was different. Bob understood music. Bob understood people. And Bob understood that this kid was special. After Elvis finished, Bob walked over to him. They talked. They talked for a long time. Bob asked Elvis about his dreams. Elvis told Bob that he wanted to be a singer. He wanted to sing gospel music first. He wanted to help people through music. Elvis was poor. His family did not have much money. Elvis worked hard. He wanted something better for his family. He wanted to make them proud. Bob listened to everything Elvis said. Bob learned about Elvis, about his family, about his dreams, about his fears. That is when Bob Joyce made a decision. He decided to help Elvis. But not in the usual way. Not the normal way. You see, many people wanted to help Elvis become famous. They wanted to make money from Elvis. They wanted to use Elvis for their own success. But Bob was different. Bob wanted to protect Elvis. Bob wanted to make sure nobody hurt Elvis. Bob wanted to make sure Elvis did not make bad decisions. Bob wanted to help Elvis the right way. So Bob made a deal with Elvis. A secret deal. A deal that only Bob and Elvis knew about. What was this deal? That is the big question. That is why we are all here listening to this story. But first, you need to understand something important. You need to understand why Bob felt he had to keep this secret. Why this deal had to be hidden. Back in the 1950s, the music business was dangerous. People lied. People cheated. People stole money. Record companies were not always nice. They took advantage of young singers. Bob Joyce had seen this many times. He had seen young singers get hurt. He had seen them lose all their money. He had seen them become sad. He had seen them give up their dreams. Bob did not want this to happen to Elvis. Elvis was special. Elvis deserved better. So Bob and Elvis made an agreement. An agreement to protect Elvis. An agreement to keep Elvis safe. An agreement to make sure Elvis got what he deserved. For decades, nobody knew about this agreement. Nobody knew about this secret deal. Nobody knew what Bob and Elvis talked about that day. Friends of Elvis never knew. Managers of Elvis never knew. Fans of Elvis never knew. Even family members did not know the full story. This secret was between Bob Joyce and Elvis Presley. Just the two of them. Now, for the first time in 7 decades, Bob Joyce is ready to tell the world what really happened. He is ready to reveal the secret deal. He is ready to explain why he kept it hidden for so long. The truth will surprise you. It will shock you. It will change how you think about Elvis forever. After Bob and Elvis talked for hours, Bob knew what he had to do. He knew he had to make this official. He knew he had to make this real. So Bob Joyce sat down with Elvis Presley. It was just the two of them. Nobody else was there. No lawyers. No papers. No witnesses. Just Bob and Elvis and a handshake. Bob told Elvis something important. He said, "I am going to help you. I am going to make sure you become a star. But I need something from you." Elvis asked, "What do you need?" Bob said, "I need you to trust me completely. I need you to listen to my advice. I need you to let me protect you from bad people." Elvis agreed. He was young. He was scared. He wanted someone he could trust. Bob seemed like an honest man. Bob seemed like someone who truly cared about him. Then Bob said something else. Something that would change everything. Bob said, "We will keep this secret. This deal between us will be secret. Nobody needs to know. Nobody needs to understand. This is just between us." Elvis asked, "Why must it be secret?" Bob explained. He said, "Because if people know that I am protecting you, they might try to change you. They might try to use you. They might try to hurt you. But if nobody knows, then I can protect you better. I can keep you safe." Elvis understood. Elvis knew that Bob was right. So they made the deal. A secret deal. A handshake deal. A deal that would last for almost 70 years. What did this deal mean? What exactly did Bob promise to do? Bob promised to help Elvis with everything. Bob promised to give Elvis advice about music. Bob promised to help Elvis choose the right people to work with. Bob promised to keep bad people away from Elvis. But there was more. There was something special about this deal. Bob promised to keep one big secret for Elvis. One important secret that nobody could ever know. You see, even before Elvis became famous, Elvis had a problem. Elvis had something he was worried about. Elvis had something he wanted to hide from the world. Bob Joyce knew about this problem. Bob Joyce understood this worry. And Bob Joyce promised to keep it quiet. Forever. For almost 7 decades, Bob kept this promise. He never told anybody. He never wrote about it. He never even talked about it. He just kept it inside his heart. But now, Bob is old. Bob is 89 years old. Bob knows that time is running out. Bob knows that he should tell the truth before it is too late. Bob decided that the world should know what really happened. Bob decided that Elvis's real story should be told. So Bob Joyce broke his silence. After 70 years of keeping quiet, Bob decided to speak. Bob decided to reveal the secret deal. This secret deal protected Elvis for his entire life. It helped Elvis make good choices. It helped Elvis avoid bad situations. It helped Elvis become the legend that he became. Without this secret deal, Elvis might have been very different. Without Bob Joyce's protection, Elvis's life might have gone in a different direction. But Bob kept the secret. Bob stayed true to his promise. Bob protected Elvis for decades and decades. Now, finally, the truth can come out. Now, finally, we can understand what really happened. This is a very important question. Why did Bob Joyce keep this secret for so long? Why did he never tell anyone? Why did he wait until he was 89 years old? The answer is simple. Bob Joyce kept the secret because he made a promise. And Bob Joyce was a man who kept his promises. When you make a deal with someone, you keep it. That is what honest people do. That is what good people do. Bob Joyce was an honest man. Bob Joyce was a good man. But there was more to it than just keeping a promise. Bob had other reasons for staying quiet. First, Bob wanted to protect Elvis. As long as the secret stayed hidden, Elvis was safe. As long as nobody knew about the deal, nobody could hurt Elvis because of it. Nobody could use it against Elvis. Nobody could make Elvis's life harder. Elvis became the biggest star in the world. Millions of people loved him. But millions of people also wanted things from him. Everyone wanted money from Elvis. Everyone wanted attention from Elvis. Everyone wanted to use Elvis. If people had known about Bob's secret deal, they might have tried to use it. They might have tried to blackmail Elvis. They might have tried to hurt him. They might have tried to stop him from becoming famous. Bob knew this. Bob understood the danger. So Bob kept the secret to protect Elvis. Second, Bob kept the secret because of respect. Bob respected Elvis. Bob respected Elvis's privacy. Bob respected Elvis's wishes. Elvis asked Bob to keep it quiet, and Bob said yes. A real friend keeps secrets. A real friend does not talk about private things. Third, Bob kept the secret because he understood business. In the music business, information is power. Information is money. If Bob had told people about the deal, everyone would have wanted to know more. Everyone would have asked questions. Everyone would have tried to find out the details. But if nobody knew about the deal, then Bob could do his job quietly. Bob could protect Elvis quietly. Bob could work in the background without people bothering him. Fourth, Bob kept the secret because of his character. Bob Joyce was a humble man. He did not want fame. He did not want attention. He did not want people to know his name. Bob wanted to help people. That was enough for him. Many people in the music business want to be famous. They want their names in the newspapers. They want people to know what they did. But Bob was different. Bob did not care about that. Bob just wanted to know that he helped Elvis. That was enough. That made Bob happy. Fifth, Bob kept the secret because times were different back then. In the 1950s and 1960s, people did not talk about private things. People kept secrets. People did not tell the world everything about their lives like they do today. Back then, privacy was important. People respected each other's privacy. People minded their own business. People did not ask too many questions. Bob Joyce understood this. He respected the old ways. He believed that some things should stay private. But now, things are different. Bob is old. Bob knows that he will not live forever. Bob knows that the truth should come out. Bob knows that people have the right to know the real story. So Bob Joyce decided it was time. It was time to break his silence. It was time to tell the world. It was time to reveal what happened 70 years ago. For all those years, Bob kept the secret safe. Now, finally, Bob is ready to share it. Now you might be wondering, how did this secret deal change music history? How did Bob Joyce's protection of Elvis affect the world? The answer is huge. The answer is massive. This secret deal changed everything. Let's think about it. Elvis Presley became the king of rock and roll. Elvis became the most important musician of the 20th century. Elvis changed music forever. Elvis made people dance. Elvis made people happy. Elvis changed fashion. Elvis changed culture. But do you know why Elvis was able to do all this? Do you know why Elvis became so successful? Part of the reason was Bob Joyce. Without Bob Joyce's protection, Elvis might have made bad choices. Without Bob's help, Elvis might have worked with bad people. Without Bob's guidance, Elvis might have lost his money. Without Bob's support, Elvis might have given up. But Bob was there. Bob protected Elvis. Bob guided Elvis. Bob helped Elvis make good choices. Because of this, Elvis stayed focused on his music. Elvis did not get distracted. Elvis did not waste time with the wrong people. Elvis did not make mistakes that could have hurt him. Elvis recorded amazing songs. Elvis performed incredible concerts. Elvis made movies. Elvis became a movie star too. Elvis won Grammy Awards. Elvis sold millions of records. Elvis influenced millions of musicians. All of this happened because Bob Joyce was protecting him in the background. Think about all the great songs Elvis recorded. Hound Dog, Jailhouse Rock, Can't Help Falling in Love, Suspicious Minds. All of these songs were recorded because Elvis was able to focus on his music. Elvis was able to stay safe. Elvis was able to trust the people around him. And who made this possible? Bob Joyce made this possible. But it goes even bigger than that. Elvis influenced the whole world. Elvis influenced rock and roll music forever. Elvis inspired other musicians. Elvis inspired the Beatles. Elvis inspired many other bands and singers. Without Elvis being so successful and protected, music history would be very different. Rock and roll might not exist the way we know it today. Popular music might be completely different. All of this started with Bob Joyce's secret deal with Elvis. But there is more. Much more. Bob Joyce's protection helped Elvis stay healthy too. Elvis lived a long life. Elvis was able to perform for many years. Elvis had time to create great art. Elvis had time to influence generations of musicians. If bad things had happened to Elvis, if Elvis had been cheated, if Elvis had been hurt by the music business, Elvis might not have lived so long. Elvis might not have created so much music. Elvis might not have changed the world. Bob Joyce kept Elvis safe. Bob Joyce kept Elvis healthy. Bob Joyce kept Elvis focused on what mattered: music. And because of this, the world has incredible music. The world has Elvis's legacy. The world has been changed forever. Even today, more than 50 years after Elvis died, people still listen to his music. People still love Elvis. People still feel the emotions in his songs. People still dance to his music. This is all because Bob Joyce made a secret deal with a young, shy teenager in Memphis, Tennessee. A secret deal that changed music history forever. This is why the world needs to know about Bob Joyce. This is why his story is important. This is why Bob decided to finally reveal the truth. For almost 70 years, Bob Joyce kept silent. For 70 years, he did not tell a single person. For 70 years, he carried this secret alone. But now, at 89 years old, Bob Joyce has decided to speak. The question is, why? Why now? Why break his silence after all these decades? The answer is simple. Bob is running out of time. Bob knows that he will not live forever. Bob knows that he is old. Bob knows that this secret will die with him if he does not tell it soon. Bob Joyce wants the truth to come out before it is too late. Bob wants people to know what really happened. Bob wants history to be correct. Bob does not want this secret to disappear forever. So Bob decided to tell his story. Bob decided to reveal the secret deal. Bob decided to break his promise of silence. But not really a promise to break. A promise to finally fulfill. You see, Elvis made Bob promise to keep the secret while Elvis was alive. Elvis said, "Bob, keep this quiet while I am here. Protect me. Keep me safe." And Bob did. Bob kept that promise completely. But Elvis died in 1977. And after Elvis died, the promise changed. Bob knew that Elvis would want the truth to come out eventually. Elvis would want people to understand. Elvis would want his real story told. So now, Bob is honoring Elvis's memory by telling the truth. What is this secret? What is this incredible deal? Bob Joyce finally revealed it. And here is what happened. When Bob and Elvis met, Elvis had a big fear. Elvis was afraid that people would not accept him. Elvis was afraid that people would judge him. Elvis was afraid that his dreams would never come true. Bob understood Elvis's fears. Bob understood that Elvis needed protection. Not just business protection. Emotional protection. Protection from the world's judgment. So Bob made a special promise to Elvis. Bob promised that he would help Elvis become the best version of himself. Bob promised that he would keep Elvis's confidence safe. Bob promised that he would give Elvis honest advice, even when it was hard. And most importantly, Bob promised to keep one thing secret. Bob promised to protect Elvis's privacy about his personal life, about his feelings, about his worries. Back in the 1950s, the world was very different. The world was not accepting. The world was not kind to people who were different. The world judged people harshly. Bob Joyce wanted to protect Elvis from this judgment. Bob wanted to give Elvis a safe space to be himself. Bob wanted to give Elvis the freedom to become great. And it worked. It worked perfectly. Because Bob protected Elvis's privacy, Elvis could focus on music. Because Bob kept the secret, Elvis could be free. Because Bob was loyal, Elvis could trust him completely. This is what the secret deal was really about. It was about loyalty. It was about friendship. It was about two men who understood each other and protected each other. Bob Joyce was not just a manager. Bob Joyce was Elvis's guardian. Bob Joyce was Elvis's protector. Bob Joyce was Elvis's true friend. And now, finally, the world knows the truth. The world understands what really happened. The world understands why Bob kept silent for so long. This is why Bob Joyce's story is important. This is why his secret matters. This is why we should remember Bob Joyce as one of the most important people in music history. Bob Joyce protected a legend. And because he did, music history was made.